Okay. Hi, everyone. I'm Prabhanshu. I worked with Suman. The startup name is Coast Wave. And right now, currently, I'm working with Edcast Incorporate, which is a MOOC and which is a Stanford-based startup right now. So I'm working as a Rails developer. Along with the Rails, I works with the Python and Amazon Web Services. So that's a backend stuff I'm working on. So, so that's fine. That's it.
Nancy.
Yeah, hi everyone. I'm Nancy. I'm a UI UX designer at a startup. We are a financial technology startup, and I have been there for 8 months now, and 1 year in this design field. So yeah, it's great catching up.
So Nancy is another UX designer that I met recently, and I've been, what do you say, in touch with her since like a month or two, and even she's like super enthusiastic about UX. So yes, if at all you get a chance, meet her. Okay, so next, Abhishek. Abhishek, can you hear me? Hello, Abhishek. Abhishek, we cannot hear you. Uh, okay, so it seems like there's some issue uh, with his audio. And he's like he's on the group chat over there. So on the icon on the left top, there's a chat icon. So when you click on this, you can see him. I mean, yeah, pinging out there. So let me just see. Let me just have a look if anyone else is going to join us. I'm sure Mansoor wanted to join us. Really, I mean, like he was really interested in it, and I think he's offline right now. Let me just check with him, and after that, let's just get started. All right, so Abhishek, yeah. So I met Abhishek in one of the meetups in TechWave from like I guess 2 months ago, and he's like a UX designer in TCS, and he has, as he's saying, 3+ years of experience. Even he's really enthusiastic about UX. All right, so what do you guys say? Let's get started.
Yeah, I think we should sort of.
All right, all right then. So the agenda that we have today is the main problem that we want to think over is maintaining the PSD files or the design files that we have. So what I think is like when you're a single designer, it's very easy to maintain. I mean, it's not even easy to maintain then, but still, when you just get started and they're like, okay, so I guess Mansoor has joined us. Mansoor, can you introduce yourself, please?
Hi, Saurabh. How are you doing?
Hi.
Good to see you back.
Yeah.
It's been a while
Three
since we had
months.
the last hangouts, I guess.
Yes.
Right.
Go ahead.
Well,
Introduce yourself.
sure. UX designer working out of Chennai. I have about 17 years of experience in this field. Mm, Working on a few startups out here in Chennai, and some of the major clients are from Middle East for me. And that's what's going on right now. So, how about you?
Uh, so most of us have already introduced ourselves,
All right.
and
Okay.
all of us are basically UX designers, and most of us are working for startups, except Abhishek. Abhishek is working in TCS, and
Okay.
Nancy is also working in a startup called Heckle. Yeah, yeah. So
Okay.
she's working in Heckle, and then we have Yogesh. She's also working in a startup, and all of us
Okay.
are UX designers. And Prabhanshu, we have Prabhanshu over here, and he's a developer. So we've just
Awesome.
got him to get some insights from developers side.
Sure.
All right. So starting again with the agenda. The agenda is to understand how to manage the whole mess of design files that we create.
Right.
So individually, it's normal, but when you have a team, it becomes a headache, right? So let's get started. Yogesh, what are your views?
So we have only one developer who's going to actually, defend or probably tell us how do they expect the design files to come to them.
What do
What
you
is
think? What do you think, Prabhanshu?
Um, uh, Right. So we expect that first of all, the design which comes should be final. There should be no change in between. So when we work on the co- when we make any coding stuff or the backend changes, so there won't be anything that at the last minute we are getting some changes. Oh, this button should be like this, and also first thing we want the whatever design should become should be fixed, and it should be in proper sync with the developers. And there should be not like because when you develop make HTML pages and all and the backend stuff is created everything and then at the last moment someone comes from the UX side and says oh that's not looking good just change it. So it is difficult for the developers as well to just completely change the mindset okay for the deployment everything. So from the from developer side whatever comes from the UX side should be final and
Prabha,
hi.
spoken exactly like a developer, huh? All right. So that's that's I guess everybody's problem, but that's not a realistic situation, is it?
Uh, y- Somehow, I mean, nowadays we are just the way it is designing, we are using the model view controller, so it is not pretty much difficult for us. So, but still, it is. I mean, in our company, we are still facing such situations because when we make any changes in the coding side and front end, front views and all, at the last moment, the mindset of UI designer changes and they completely change the whole product at the last
That's
moment.
really bad. That's really bad.
in
But
fact, I know. Let me tell you, that is something that you should not allow.
yeah, no,
Yeah,
I
but
guess that's for the
You know,
management to kind of bring it into their cycle. But just to point out a few things, there are two things actually. One is his situation, which is very right. UX designers are not sure about what's coming in. That's pretty bad. But there's another situation, which is what I was thinking he was saying, is when they actually put it together, the developers find it difficult to execute the design given by a designer. Okay, when they don't get it right, in the sense, let us say because of cross-browser issues or because of something else, things start leaking or they don't fit within the defined parameters, right? And
so
then,
actually,
yeah,
yeah, Mansur, go ahead.
so then what happens is they find a problem, so they say we are not able to execute this the way you guys wanted it. So, if you can fix or come up with something that is feasible, right? And then it goes back into the iterative process. But having said that, iteration is always there. It is never gone. But if there is if the UI guys are coming back in the end and saying, "Oh, we need to change this because this is not good, not looking good, or something," then basically something is wrong. The initial
All right.
design process itself is something, something is not right, right? What do
yeah.
you say, Suman?
I, I agree completely that there should be this same kind of a thing. So I've been a developer and a designer as well. So I actually understand both the sides of this problem. And you know what? I think there is a huge role of the designer as well to explain the process before they go into the visual design stage. And I think that's the main importance of the wireframe and the prototype stages. So when you're ready with the wireframe and prototype stages, you actually have to involve the developers also with you, and they actually look into the wireframes and prototypes, and then you actually iterate the design itself, and then finalize the design after the consideration of the developer also. And then when you give it to the developers, they will be able to understand it better. So that's one of my views about it, and also we this is not going to be designer versus developer thing.
Well, I don't completely agree with you because
Mhm.
I mean, when at the wireframing level you discuss the wireframes with the developer, they actually dig deep into the feasibility issues, which is not really required at that time. That hinders creativity and innovation both. Like, I'm not talking about the real innovation where changing drastically something and not using the existing UI elements, etc. But they start thinking from the real how will it we will go about and stuff. So
No, but it
that
sometimes
is
becomes very necessary because we face this problem on a daily basis, and I think it is a good practice to run it past the developers. So what happens is, sharing my experience, sometimes the same services can be used on that particular page, whereas if we do some changes, they might have to create newer services which can actually increase the work for them. And it's not just increase of work for one or two people, it can be for the entire team. So it's actually better to keep the developers looped in into what is happening on the UX level as well.
Absolutely. The
So
main point here is
so
how you do it. I think that is the catch. Okay. How are you going to do this presentation to the developers and how is their feedback going to come? It all lies in that particular methodology that you're going to follow. Are you going to have a one-to-one session in the sense, huddle all the developers together, and then you see the backend guy, the front-end guy, and everybody, and then just
yeah,
present the design?
I do it twice a day.
Yeah, I mean, are you going to just present the design, or are you going to hear from them and then change it on the fly and stuff like that? Because that is what you should not do. What you should actually do is present the design,
Mm-hmm.
including the stakeholders, whoever's, your manager, project manager, whatever,
yep, yep.
including the developers. You have to just present the design. And
Right.
after you present the design, you share the PowerPoint presentations or the wireframes with them and let them come back with the feedback. Give them time
Yeah,
to
yeah.
soak it
And
all in because whatever you're going to conceptually tell them, it's going to take them time to figure out, how it has to be done. So if it is done live, then it's chaotic.
and I
Don't do
think Nancy also has a point over there because when we start designing, we have all of these concepts like this thing will come like this thing will come like this, and as a developer, when you look at those things, it seems like a lot of work to do, and you would what you'd want to not do so much of stuff, and the laziness within you, it starts coming out, and you're like, what, can we do something else than this? So I think there's this thing wherein you need to inspire your developers and say, what, this is a website made by these developers and it looks really awesome. And I think this is something that we can also do. I think so. There's a communication gap maybe, wherein you
Saurav,
inspire those developers, I guess.
Saurav, I think the developer in you is fighting with the designer with you. Huh? the
Well, I'm
developer
sorry, I
in
missed
you,
it.
the developer in you is
Mhm.
fighting with the designer in you.
Split personality.
I have to look from both sides. Come on.
Actually, see, when we come up with a design, it's not ours. It's based on a lot
Yes,
of facts that we observe, we get, and we substantiate our design with that. So it's not our personal, feeling that it should be like this.
exactly.
So one side we're talking about the visual design, and the other side we're talking about actual facts. Like you can't have a different UI for a particular page just because it's easy to develop. Okay, so we are looking at ease of use from the user's point of view. I think that is kind of set when you're in such a user-centric environment by itself. Everybody knows
Exactly.
it is user-centric and it's not nobody's opinion, right? So once that is
Exactly.
established, all we need to figure out is even if the developer is going to give some, let's say, everybody is, they can definitely speak up during this presentation, but it's left to the designer to either make that go with what the developer wants or not. And they would again base it on the ease of use, right?
Agreed.
So when such a thing, when you like stick to the process so tightly, I don't think problems should arise. It's when everybody slacks off, they think everybody has a pie, or everybody has a point to make. It's like a huge mess, right? Too many cooks to the broth, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So people don't. And not everybody can be the chef. Only one person. You can recommend, you can suggest, but that's all you can do. It's a designer's call, right? To either make that change or no. But yes, the developers can voice, depending on whether it's a technical issue or even if they are personally, if they have an opinion, it's not a problem. Definitely put it out there. But it's the call, the final call, right? So I have this problem day in and day out. And the problem is, my problem is one more level high. It's the stakeholders, the guys who are putting in the money, right? When you're looking at startups, that's a big, those are the biggies. I mean, it's not the developer, it's not the designer. The guy who's
Mm.
putting in the money, he says, I want it that way. Now what will you do? Till now, everything was, you could handle it. But now when the big
Yeah.
guys speak, now what do you do?
No, but you have to learn to say no at some point.
Okay, say no, but he's going to say no because he's the stakeholder. He's the guy who's putting the money. He says, I don't want it this way.
See, if you explain, see, because he's not a designer, if you explain him the reasons, then he's going to buy it.
That doesn't work, unfortunately. So
Yeah, I
what do
mean,
we do is, the only thing that we can do is, we can say, okay, this is my recommendation, and this
oh,
is why I did it. I have given you enough points to substantiate that. Now you guys think otherwise, but you guys have to take the call, right?
mm,
Whatever it is, now it's in your hands. If you take it, this will be the loss, right? And if
mm.
you still want to take it, please go ahead. I can't do much about it. But
So
don't
one
come
of
back
the
to me.
so one of the things that we used to do is like they say you should always give variations. I mean, like one or two variations with the design. And one of the tactics that we used to do was like make something that you want and make something really bad, and then show it to the
Ah,
stakeholders. So he'll automatically choose your design.
yeah, those are things, but there are really clever guys, and sometimes it's difficult to, convince them. The
And
only
yeah,
thing is,
the problem arises when they themselves don't know what to do.
no, see, you won't believe it. I have conversations till 12 at the night, even beyond that, because the guy had a problem during the meeting. He calls me back after everything is over. He goes back home, takes a shower and gives me a call. He says, you know what, about that image size, can we have it more squarish? Can you believe that? And I'm like, why would you have it squarish? It's a mobile phone. And how would you like, you're like, the fact that that picture has to be rectangular in shape is because of a lot of production issues. Somebody's going to take that picture, put it into the mobile phone, and after a huge process, it's going to show up on the mobile, right?
Yeah.
So it starts at the point where it's getting collected, where the information is getting collected. And here he wants a square picture out of a rectangle. And I'm like, dude, how is that? He said, no, I put a lot of square pictures and I showed it around the office and everybody liked the square instead of the rectangle.
Mm.
And he's calling that user testing. Now you tell me, what do I tell him? Right? So what, and there are points like this where you like really get stuck, but the most basic, most important thing that you need to do at that time is document it. Document that you recommended XX and this is what they chose. And because of this, there is XX implication, right? So when
Mhm.
that, so it never comes back to you, right? After all, we are just playing a role. Remember, we are not crusaders. We are not going to win a war, right? We've been hired to do a task. And when the guys don't want that, then they just don't want it. But the consequence alone is what you should inform. And then go along. Just don't personalize the app to your, don't stick with it like oh, it's my creation. How can I let it go like that? Many people hold on to it so badly, they can't think beyond it. The next day, everything will be screwed up for them as a designer.
I know that feel. I used to be like that earlier.
But I guess, yeah, it's kind of like, so what, man? It's your product. You do whatever
Mm.
you want with it. You ask me for a suggestion. I give you the best one. You don't want to take it? Fine. But this is what's going to happen to you.
Yeah. All right. So coming back to the main agenda. So I mean, it's about managing the design files. So let's get started with the problems that we guys face. I mean, like, what are problems that we face, and then let's think about what are solutions that each of us has, for managing the files, for sharing the files, and for giving it to the developers, and so on. So let's get started with the problems first, and let's see if any one of us actually has a solution for that already. And if we don't, like, maybe can we come up with a, something, make a standard perhaps. Yogesh.
There is nothing like a final design. Does everybody agree with that?
Yeah.
So do you ever name your files like such and such final?
No, never, never.
Yeah, I never do that.
I used to.
You used to. Okay.
Yeah.
So now you don't do it anymore.
No,
And
no.
then he used to do the final one and final two.
So I have seen, like, I mean, I myself used to do that, like final one, two, three, four, and it used to go on. Finally, you get confused, like, which one is the
Is the
final one
final
now.
one.
So there is also like final one, final one, final two in the same, and it's the same file name. So that happens basically when you have a lot of inputs coming in and then you are doing changes at the last moment itself. So after that, I decided that I'll never have ever have multiple files. I'll just have one file, and no matter what, I'm not going to change it to something called final. At the most, so how I maintain my files is, suppose there are 5 pages in a website. Uh, so I call it home 01, and then there is say like about 01, and then there is works 01 and contact 01. So the moment I do a major change in design, then I change the number to 02. Otherwise the 01 remains. So any kind of minor changes like text changes or some button movement here and there, then it still remains the same number. Otherwise, yeah, so I don't change the number unless and until it's a major change in design, and that is how I try to keep my files very, very limited. There are not too many versions that I create of that same file. Although occasionally what I do is I just copy the entire folder and back it up from time to time so that I do not, just in case there is some mishap, I do not lose my work. And it's been pretty easy for me that way. I don't know what others think or how do they do it.
Well, I am a person who loves wireframing like anything, and all of my stakeholders, including the design-minded developers, like not all the developers, but one or two developers, and all the business people understand the importance of wireframing. So we
Yeah.
finalize on a wireframe, and we create only one prototype. If the prototype is rejected, I create a second version which is completely different from the previous one. So I maintain different folders for versions,
Mhm.
and I keep all the different versions only at my end. And I use Dropbox vastly for sharing the design, both the prototypes and the design screens.
Mhm.
So and since I'm the only designer in a team of 25 people, including developers and product people,
Mhm.
I shared only one Dropbox folder with them, which contains the latest ones. So I upload it by myself. I get it synced and make sure that everyone has the latest one and everyone is on the same page. So this is how
I
I
think she's
do
kind of cracked it. She's kind of cracked the most of the versioning, or at least what needs to go to the developer. She's got everything organized, except you may not need a folder per version. The number itself might do, but it's okay. I mean, you having different folders for it is fine, and the fact that you have only the final out there for everybody to see is awesome. But
it.
to have a number on that, because if you change that file,
Mm-hmm.
then people should know there's been a change.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah. So
And one more thing is, whenever you present it outside, it definitely the number has to change. Till that time, it's your file. You can, iterate it as much as you want. But even if you've shared to anybody apart from you, anybody apart from you, you have to change the number. Okay?
right.
And if it is a minor change, you could do with ABCs along with the number, right?
Uh-huh.
And if it's like if it's sent to a lot of people, then definitely change the number. Okay, you have to increment it to say that okay, it's exposed, it's already gone.
Yeah.
If it's not exposed, you can you know you can fiddle with it as many times because it's not gone anywhere, right?
Right.
Because otherwise you will lose track of, oh my God, I sent it to somebody, and then what I have is different from what they have now, right? Whoever it is, right? So when you call up that person later and say, and you're discussing about, slide 32, and this is XXX, see that on the right side, where? What? They're like, what version do you have? Like 10. Okay, that's the same thing I have, but that's not there in that slide, This
Yeah. So
problem will occur because you already shared it, and the minute you shared it, you did upgrade. You did, you know, go to the next level.
yeah, notify people about that there is some change.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
minute it
the
is
change
out,
logs.
Well,
change log.
I take the privilege of being the only design person.
Uh-huh.
So, and people at my place, I mean, they're not bothered about on what version you are. They just want to get the work done. They really they don't care about how much effort you have put in or something like that. I mean,
Yeah.
pun unintended, but yeah. So,
The other thing, Nancy, is the more versioning that you have
uh-huh.
also gives an idea of the number of iterations you've gone through,
Yeah,
right?
that's what I'm saying. I keep those versioning at my end, but I
I
don't share the complexity with others. So,
definitely, but when you're sharing it with your higher ups, it's good to show that number. X
yeah,
number of iterations I've gone through, and that means something is wrong. They're not giving all the input at the same time. Typically my project will just escalate to about 25 versions, just like that.
So is a high number good or bad?
It's actually bad. There's something wrong with that, but depends whether every time you're sharing it with your stakeholders and you're then incrementing or you're incrementing to something else, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Some other reason. Maybe your internal reviews are high, right? There are two types of reviews. One is when you want all your stakeholders to see it or your clients to see it, the big ones. And then there
Mm-hmm.
are incremental changes you make after maybe sharing it with your colleague or just getting a, quick, guys, just huddle up, I had this
Yeah.
problem, this is how I solved it. What do you guys think, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
just for a quick, review, so you might increment it that way. But if this is what's happening with your stakeholder, then that's really bad. But if it's happening inside, then it's fine. It's absolutely fine.
Yeah, and I think right now is also a good time to talk to Prabhanshu, who's the
yeah,
developer, and how they actually maintain their files and the changes and the versions, and even the naming conventions, and maybe there's something that we can learn from them. Prabhanshu?
We have a best tool known as Git, and we just maintain all our codes on the Git versioning. So I'm looking. I mean, there is a Git you guys can also use for your PSDs. I'm just looking at that whether
What is
you
it called?
guys Git. There's a GitHub, and we use all the versions and all. Since PSD is the binary files, you can easily maintain. You can see the diffs and all. So just go checking that whether you guys can use the Git for PSDs. And we have a proper maintenance system for Git versioning. We can easily check whether what is the difference we have made it. And apart from naming convention, what we do is we have a known as version 1, V1, and V1, V1.1, V1.2. when there's a smaller minor changes. When you got a major changes, we just shift to from V1 to V2. That's how
Right.
we go. That's 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 you guys can do in your while you're making the PSDs and all. Just like the V1 dash one with the smaller changes and all, and that's when you move on to the major changes, just change the name to V1 to V2. That's
Prabhanshu, does
yeah.
it make sense for graphic designers to also have so much amount of versioning? Would you know what kind of work we do, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Do you think such small incremental changes need to be also, backed up, something like
Uh,
subversions or something like
it's like what you guys can do when you switch from version 1 to version 2. You can just easily you can just remove all the old versioning V1 related stuff. Just like you have version 1 dash 1, 1 dash 2, and when you move on to version 1 dash 2 to directly 2. So all the previous files can uh, can be removed. So they are of no use because you already moved to the bigger change, which already incorporate those minor changes. So that's how you can clean it up.
Okay,
So
that?
but
actually,
uh, I have a question there, but in my case, usually versioning happens only after the business requirement changes even a slight bit, then you have to make according respective changes in the design. So in this case, I mean, I don't really ever, I'm not able to figure out whether I should discard my older files or older versions at any time or I should keep it. So I maintain a dustbin folder for myself. Uh, I mean, I never delete things, but I keep them in a dustbin folder because I don't know. I really think that I might need it anytime in future, but it has happened over like since 6 months. I've never opened those folders, but I'm still a very I don't know. Uh, you can call me a person who keeps the garbage in. So, what is the right time to discard your files? I don't really understand.
Once the project is over.
Yeah.
that's never going to be done,
That's never going to be done if you're
Yeah, the
especially when
idea
you're in a
is
startup.
usually, design evolves, right?
right.
People create a lot of assets during the design process. And sometimes what they do is they might want to retain those assets so that they don't have to recreate them again. That's the tendency that designers have. But they end up creating new ones anyway. That's a different
Mm-hmm.
thing
Mm-hmm.
because they think it's going to take more time to recreate them again. But once things start evolving, the old one doesn't gel with the new one, right? So ultimately, you do lose focus, and yes, we keep them, and yes, it's there. I've seen a lot of that happening, but let me tell you how useful that could be at some point later. These are the things that we miss out when we want to build our portfolio. Okay, now significant changes uh, and the number of designs that we give make an impact to our portfolios. Okay, and the evolution that took place is also very important, very notable at a long run. So the fact that you
True that.
have all of them stored, take some time out, to build. I don't know how many of you are designers are building your own portfolio, but it's very, very important.
Yeah.
Okay, as the competition increases, you have all kinds of people coming into the stream with or without knowledge. Most of them just have tool-based knowledge. They
Yeah.
don't have any artistic or creative skills. They only have Photoshop as a tool-based knowledge, right?
Right.
And these are the people you would be competing against. So you want to say that X design had X concepts that you created, right?
Yeah.
So when I filter candidates who apply for a job, the first thing that we look at these is not the final output. It's probably if you have a sequence, then I'll be more interested in that candidate, right? So we think,
Hmm.
okay, there is a variety between the concepts, There is a different thinking process. So this candidate is worthy, right? Now,
But the thing,
this is one
Yeah.
use of having all that. I wouldn't call all that as garbage, but yeah, this is, kind of helpful in a long run. But yes, like I said, once the project is over, it's good to document all this immediately and keep your documenting process very, very simple. Just take screenshots, dump them into a PPT, right? And write a few lines. That's it. Mostly, basically, what you need to write is what difference did you bring to the project? It's not about what all you did. I did this, I did this, I did this. No. What difference did you bring to the project? Right? So just that one or two lines will be enough to seal the deal in most portfolio cases, because otherwise I've seen people, I don't know why they ask you such questions, but they kind of ask you, okay, what all did you do when the project came to you? And they say, okay, I did survey, I did this, I did that. What's the point? So what did you finally, what was the outcome of all that, right?
Yeah.
And
Sounds good.
how did that impact your design?
Yeah, and
Yeah,
actually keeping these variations, the dustbin folder, Nancy,
Yeah.
is helpful in actually showing the changes that we made to that design.
and those
And
key important points, you share them with the world. Okay? If you're not used to putting them in a PPT, at least put it on a blog somewhere. But yeah, we have the NDAs and stuff like that as well.
Sorry, I didn't get you what?
We have the NDAs, the non-disclosure agreements, where
Huh?
we
NDA.
can't share the internal files outside, stuff like that. But there are times when, all the trash is trash. So as long as you can remove the branding and remove the, essence of what the project was about, I think then it shouldn't be a problem, right?
Yeah.
So just don't say who the client was or what the product was, but essentially what change you brought to the product, right? Keep it very generic, so you can still use the screenshots and still, don't worry about the NDAs.
Hmm.
So no software. Is that so? Nobody has any software that you're using for versioning, right?
No. So see, the thing with designers, let's say, so I've recently joined a startup, so I'm leading the UX over there. So I have a set of designers with me in my team, and so there's a project management tool called Jira that we use for developers use. Okay,
Okay.
and it so happens like those guys, the project managers, ask us, use Jira, and as soon as we show them the
GIR.
screens, they they just get daunted by the whole screen itself. These many things, I'm not going to do it. And even when you show GitHub or something, and even then it seems too technical for them. And even when you call about the name, what do you say, the file versioning system, let's say v1.2.3, that most of the stuff, it just goes over the head. And even the tools that are present right there right now, even those address these problems in such a way which actually designers are not very comfortable with. And I think that's a very big, what do you say, the problem that's there with the tools out there. And we need to come up with something more simple that the designers can easily adapt.
What I think Dropbox and such tools are the thing to go. Even I prefer Gmail a lot because everybody has an ID, right? That kind
Yeah.
of starts everything. Because
So
anytime I
that's only
ask
going to
people to,
sync your files. That's only going to sync your files. So yeah, I was going to come about these
ah,
problems again. So
that's the
see,
key.
yes, so syncing is going to be there. So in my team, like it many times happens. Like I've started with a design, and I'm going to push it over to another designer. You know what? Take this thing now. Continue. If you want, you can go ahead and design for that. So that is where Dropbox and these Google Drives help you. But then once again, the problem is there are many problems. Another problem with the design files is like we are unlike coders. we actually create different versions of designs, not just versions. I mean, we create variations of a single design. So, for example,
Different
it's a
concept.
homepage. Yeah, different concepts altogether. So they are not variation. These are not versions. They are completely variations of a single design.
You can
So
create two
Options.
folders inside the same version then. I mean, this is my
inside the
uh,
same version,
inside the same version to create two different folders of this is layout one, this is layout two.
I think rather you choose different, what do you say, variations and then create versions inside them, I guess, right?
Yeah, I tend to go with this because actually you should create versions only after you have shortlisted one of the options.
Uh-huh.
You cannot keep going around, refining both the options. At some point of time, you have to like zero in on one option and then only then create versions for the
Yes, but
Well,
until you make that
Yogi,
decision, you do need
I'll
to.
say that happened very recently with us.
hmm
We had two designs and we were pretty cool about. I mean, we weren't able to decide ourselves which one to go about, and we had to give both of them to the developers so that we take feedback from equal people on a like a real prototype, not a InVision app prototype.
Mhm.
So
hmm
we had to create two prototypes. Well, HTML. I mean,
A finished product, you mean?
yeah, a finished product.
A high fidelity prototype, I
But
guess.
So in that case, I mean, yeah, it depends on the situation then.
but Nancy, that would cost your company such a. I mean, it will be a big cost developing both the versions and then getting it tested. I mean, the
Uh,
whole idea of having a iterative process is because you save cost on development, and if you do
mm,
not release your design, then
yeah,
And it's not just development, Yogesh. It's
sorry,
also about how good it is, right?
yeah,
I didn't get you.
No, it's not just about development, right?
Yeah, yeah, it's not about development only.
Yeah. So
No,
I
but
guess options are necessary. I mean, that's what I feel. So until
Mhm.
I'm so it's like even if I create just one version, I
Mhm.
myself will get very much senti about that, design. And if
Yeah,
someone comes and says something about it, I feel if I create more than one variation for that, and if someone chooses one over the other, I
Mhm.
will be satisfied as a designer. And for
exactly.
me, that
Scott,
satisfaction is the most
yeah,
important thing that's driving me daily, to design more.
okay,
exactly.
something.
If you've ever heard Scott Clemmer speaking about human-computer interaction, he's from University of San Diego. He shouts out loud every time about making at least two equally good layouts for everything that you design, whether it is a creative thing or a screen design or a mobile app.
Mhm.
Equal good effort, so that you're never crazy about one thing and feel disheartened about one thing got like chosen and the other one's discarded.
Okay, I have a question.
Yeah.
Uh, do you so it will differ from people to people, but I do not like the very first design that I create.
Oh,
Does
no
that
one
happen
does.
with you also?
Oh, yes. It
So,
very
so
well
like
does.
if I do something one evening, that's next morning I don't like it and I start over again.
Yeah,
Happens
that happens
happens
at times.
many
Yes, it
times.
does.
So,
And I heard somewhere, I read it somewhere. So what they suggest, for example, even if you're creating a logo, you know
mhm.
what, just print it out
You
and put it across your room and like look at it for like 7 days. And if you're
exactly,
not
exactly.
getting bored by it, then go ahead with that.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Absolutely true. I've also read this.
What if the client doesn't give 7 days time? What if? What if?
So that is where he's going to get a shitty design in.
See, that's it.
Those are the
So
issues.
the more time you get, I guess most of your products get refined and they're better. Even if you give one more hour, they'll get better.
Right. And work expands with time. We're never happy with what we deliver. At least I am not. I always feel that. Give me
No, that's a good thing. So anybody who's like iterating, is critiquing their own work, right, is on the right path.
Hmm.
If you're coming up with a
Yeah.
new concept every day, that means you're actually critiquing your own work, and this is good in one way, but just make sure you also see the deadline and you know you keep that in mind. At some point in time, you have to say, okay, this is the best we can do given the timeline. That's it, right?
Yeah.
And at some point, you have to close it because
right.
you can always keep improving, you can always get better, but at some point, okay, this is enough for this client or X budget or whatever that is going to say that that's the end line for you. So
How about naming the layers in PSD? How many of you follow that?
I do.
I
Oh,
do.
I'll really love to follow that, but then you know what? I know that I cannot do it within starting itself.
Yeah,
So
Well,
I ensure that I just design everything up, and then at the end of the day, I just clean that up. Clean that up using the what do you say, the group. So I've always wanted to do that, but it's really difficult for me to do that. At this stage. So I feel like
well,
I mean, I will do that in the near future, but then I haven't till now.
I use Illustrator, and Illustrator creates a new layer for every object that you create. So I don't rename each and every layer, but I do, I mean, sub layer, but matlab, I create sub layers.
folders.
No, not folders, but sub layers inside the main layer, and I name the top one. So that
Okay.
works for me. I mean,
Yeah, actually, Illustrators has layers and sub layers kind of a thing,
Hmm.
rather than groups. So I prefer naming groups rather than complete layers, because layers are going to be too many, and I cannot name all of them. So better I just create groups so that they know which layer is going to be there, and once they're inside that group, it will be it's a little bit easy for them to understand which layer is what. I mean,
Okay.
uh,
that's just
I have
my.
a question. I have a question for Mansoor. That after so many years of work and wireframing and user flows, do you spend time on visual design as well right now? I mean,
we have to direct the visual design. It is a must
okay.
because what happens with the visual designers is uh, they are basically artists to start with. They
Uh-huh.
are self-expressionists in the sense what they create is pleasurable to themselves.
Yeah.
So you need to spend a lot of time to actually make them comfortable to create something for others. Okay. So when self-expressionists need that kind of, keep telling them that, are you sure that this is something that the others are going to understand, right? Whatever you do, whatever you come up with, I'm not really talking about just coloring a UI or, I'm also talking about collages. I'm also talking about things that convey a meaning to whatever you're designing, right? Or
Right.
adding
So
some
what
textures, adding some figures, whatever that you want to do. So we
so
need to
what do
go
you do
beyond
when designers actually make really bad designs? I mean, visually, I mean,
because
workable.
it is to them it's their self-expression, right? So you need to tell them that clearly define, okay, this is for somebody else, and would they understand? And then they
Do
would have
they?
a second look at it. In many cases, technologically, they would not be sound.
Hmm.
Okay, artists by nature they are not technologically. Many of them come from painting, sculpture, all
Yeah.
kinds of backgrounds. Technology is the least thing that they want to be confined in. Okay, I had a project where somebody had to do like 250 icons. Okay, imagine it's for us it's nothing, but to an artist it was the most grueling 2.5 months. He almost resigned. Okay, he said, "I paint on a canvas, man, and you're giving me 16 by 16 pixels to express my art, right?" But he
Yeah.
didn't get what the others got. That is the other thing is, given the restriction, you try and give your best, right? So the other side needs to, so you need to say, okay, you want to see the best designs in the world who used the same 16 by 16 and then came up with such beautiful icons, right? Put it to them, show them stuff. They get inspired. Okay, they'll be like, okay, now I get it. Okay, okay. Instead of you sitting with them and you'd be a very raw artist, you wouldn't have done icons, and you sit with them and say, okay, put everything in. And the other biggest problem is they don't sketch before getting into the design, right? So you need to learn
Exactly.
them
Right.
to
So
know
actually,
the
I have a designer in my team. So I'm like, this is a standard procedure that I've read about and all. Like, even the designers of Ferrari and Lamborghini and those people also, they start with sketching first and all. So there was
Correct.
this designer in my team, so I just tell her like, start with the sketch first, and she's like, I try doing that, but then I just cannot do that. So whenever I have something in my mind, I just want to go ahead and start designing it. And when I sit with a pen and paper, I cannot figure it out.
That's because they are not used to giving you concepts.
Uh-huh.
So what you need to tell them is you're not designing the end product, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's say it's an icon for sale, for example, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, what are the different kinds of things that come to your mind that could essentially apply to data being saved in a particular location, right?
Hmm.
It's
Yeah.
it's not something that you can conceive. It's not a it's a virtual thing, right? So you might have to
Yeah.
find metaphors, and you might have to work on that. And
Hmm.
so we make the designers sketch a lot of icons, or let's say just the concept. We don't say put it in a box. It has to be 16 by 16. No, you take an entire canvas, right?
Yeah.
Just scribble something, scribble all the concepts.
I think that's an interesting
Ultimately,
idea.
yeah,
And telling them that you
ultimately,
have to just show the concepts, not the end product.
exactly. That is the trick. The
Yeah.
trick is to let them express, and to do that, you need to take them away from software, right?
Hmm.
You take them to a room, you say, don't be bothered about what the software does, nothing. Express. This is what similar to even logo design or anything, right? First, you sketch all the concepts. Then you try to restrict them, like slowly, okay, bring them and say, okay, now you have certain restrictions. This
Do you
thing
think
needs
after a while they'll be able to catch up with that, even if they are not used to doing that?
yes, they are pretty much comfortable when you do this. But instead, we go ahead and ask them the end product,
Mm-hmm.
right? And that's difficult for them to do. That's like giving a small 16 by 16, canvas and saying that go ahead, paint,
Mm-hmm.
or use some kind of oil paints or something. Get me an elephant in there quick.
Mm-hmm.
And, that's not possible. So, you got to work with them, and this is a good method. Sorry, I think I lost your question. What was your question again?
So I was like, there are some designers who are not actually, used to sketching it out. So whenever they think of any concept, they have a visual image in their mind. So these are the artist kind of guys, I guess.
Yeah,
They want to actually
technologically.
show that thing, actually using
I think you
the,
should
what do you say?
insist them to be low fidelity. To insist
I know, and
them,
that's
remind them again and
difficult, you
again.
see. So I think it depends on how many times you actually make them do it and then making them comfortable with that. I think that's the
Yeah,
only
Even a
solution.
medium fidelity mock-up, I mean, it helps people to save a lot of time, a lot of time. High fidelity, it takes your life.
absolutely, absolutely. And so many problems with the high fidelity that might as well, start it with the low. Because now you don't like the shape, you don't like the way it's done, you don't like the character, you don't like the colors, you don't like, so many things about the high, right?
Yeah. If
So
if if they
keep
are
it on
new,
them.
you have to be their mentor and remind them again and again about
Uh,
low fidelity.
Low fidelity so
Hmm.
that you
I
have the
agree.
control as a what I can say user experience designer, or as a interaction designer or a UI designer. The main thing that you need to do is to help them by phasing it out. So you first look on the content, right? Then how visually that is going to appear, how simplistic that can be achieved, then slowly going all the way up to the colors, right? And then
Mm-hmm.
the family of colors, and then the theme for the entire app, right? So if you can go gradually, step by step, that'll be better.
So this, I think, mainly happens with visual designer because they are more inclined towards just creating the visual aspect of it, and then they don't want to get into how it's going to work actually. So that
Yes,
is where they try to do this, not a shortcut, but that is what they understand.
Yeah.
So they
you know
get
what?
inclined
The
towards
failure of
finishing.
a visual designer is totally on the designer who's guiding him. It's his
Mm-hmm.
failure, not the visual designer's failure. If you look, if you give them a chance, he's going to come up with a beautiful painting. It's your problem. You have not given proper instructions. You have not said what needs to stand out in a layout. You have not told them what needs to be subtle. You need to tell them all that,
Right, right.
right?
And
So
that
when
makes
you do
sense.
that, they also need to have some kind of digital education. They need to understand this is not a painting, this is something digital. So some of the things, and we use a lot of text, for example, right? So
Yeah.
typography is one of the major things that we need to focus because it's a digital world, right? Because
Yes.
we have a lot of text on our applications, on everything. So the beauty of the font really makes a difference. Okay, they really need to spend a lot of time playing with fonts. So it's
Mm.
not about just one font that's readable that they no. It's about different fonts, what character they bring to the page, right? When you have
Yeah.
a serious page, how it should look. Like for an example, banking application, right? All the serif
Yeah.
fonts, right? Serif fonts and
Mm.
standout like Times New Roman, these kind of those are the classic ones, right? But they get the job
Mm-hmm.
done. But if you want serif fonts, you can't bold a serif font, for example. It looks horrible. Okay,
Yes.
so these are the things that when they like play with the font, and then when they do it and they present it, they will learn over time that they need to be lean and strong means they need to be lean and big. Sheriff fonts are beautiful and they are big and all the curves are shown.
Mm.
Okay, and at the same time, when you like sans fonts like Arial or Verdana, these are the
Mm.
best for digital reading as well as paper, right? When you take
Yep.
printouts and all that. Of course, the one that does well, uh, is very well in print is Times New Roman or any such serif fonts, right? Because that's what our right from the beginning all our textbooks are made up of, right? It's the most easiest fonts to read. Okay,
I know, but I frankly hate those two fonts. I mean, like, I hate Times New
that's
Roman and hate Arial.
probably because of their usage. They are not used effectively. I
Right.
And
can make those things
But
really
Mohammed,
look beautiful.
there are other fonts which are serif and better than Times New Roman.
yeah,
No,
I
I'm
mean,
just giving you an example, right?
uh,
Now Georgia is another one, right? That's another
Yeah.
sheriff font.
Yeah.
Now you may like a sheriff font and not like a sheriff font, depending on the size itself.
the
Georgia, you
size
can
and
make
also
it
the line
small,
height. I mean, line height is one of the most important characteristics to, whether you like the typography or not.
Yeah, it is.
right? Now
All right,
stuff
so
like
I think we are deviating from the main topic right now,
right,
and let's quickly conclude this detour that we've taken.
okay, because you're concluding, I had something to share today. I'll just share it with all of you guys. I prepared something for today, at least from the
Uh-huh.
reporting point of view. Okay, you guys have a lot of files. You have,
Sure.
yes, you do, and you have all this Dropbox, uh, or GitHub, or if you're using your Gmail Drive or whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
Finally, presentation of those files to a developer has to be maintained, right? And whether
Yeah.
it's the final file altogether or
Mm-hmm.
you've chopped it into assets and kept them separately. Okay. At the end of it, all you have is a location. You have a URL where everything is there, right? Now
Yes.
now the kind of people that you're communicating to are two kinds. One are the developers, and one of the managers, whoever's overseeing this entire thing, he needs to know that X thing is delivered, right?
Hmm.
For the developers to start working on, is it done, not done, right? And that could be screen by screen or face by face. Okay. So everything
Yeah.
comes to deliverable items, and so I'm just going to try and see if I can share my screen. So I've kept it very generic. I use various versions of this, but this is something that really works.
Oh,
Uh, you're able to see this?
yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is basically it. I've removed all the project management things like how much time it took and all that. That's
Okay.
not my focus. Okay. It is like when I have a project and I start off and I have a team of people doing X things, right?
Hmm.
And let us say initially I have a UX designer and he's going to do all the requirement gathering, doing the competitor analysis. At the end of it, I want to see a document with it. I want to see what he has done and what the outcome is, right?
Cool.
And these kind of documents should be ready before they, get into the wireframe, or I want to close the deal with the stakeholders, right? Saying,
Yeah.
okay, this is what we're going to do, right? This is our study and analysis. This is what we found out. And finally, we have a plan, right? We give you two
Mm-hmm.
concepts for visual, etc. These kind of things are all fit in
Mm-hmm.
documents. So most of what a designer does initially, whether he likes it or not, he has to come up with these documents. And this, I would say, is required. So whatever is required, I would just say, I need this, I need this, I need this. Doesn't matter what version it is. Okay, whether there's a version to it or not. What you need to paste here is a link to that document.
Yeah.
Okay, just the link. I don't want to see anything but one link, and how do I know whether it's done or not? Right? The way I see that
Mm-hmm.
is the minute you take it, I need a date. Right? This is a planned date, but what's the actual date? When are you taking it? When are you taking the work? Right? I planned it for 5th, but you ideally started on 6th, right? And maybe you didn't take it till
Mm-hmm.
7th. So when you take it on 7th, I want the guy to put a date there. Okay? That's all I want him to do. And then if the work is still ongoing, I want to link to that document, even if it's ongoing, right? And if it
Okay.
is done, I want him to move that link to internal review, right? When it is done here, he'll move it to internal review. After that, all the feedback will be connected, and if he's going to present it to a review and stuff like that, right? And then once
Uh-huh.
that's done, all the feedback will be available, and that's a different link. So this is the iterative loop. These three stages will go on till everything is done. Okay?
Cool.
But I see only one link.
Yeah.
You remember we spoke about it? Why too many links will confuse everybody and all that, right?
Hmm.
So once that loop is done, and then I move it to the last column, right? That's the doc, that's final, and this is the date I completed it, right? Right? The minute I see
Yeah.
that date is completed, if there was somebody waiting, like for example, the visual designer is waiting for the wireframe to be completed. So he's going to wait till that date happens. And when that's available for him as a final deliverable, then his work starts. He will put in a date and then he'll start work. So finally, everything is here. Where can I find the assets? The developer will ask, I said, go look at the final deliverable column, right?
Hmm.
If it's there, means it's ready for you to just go. It'll be a link to a folder. All your assets are there. Just go take it. Don't have to ask me, right? In this, the manager is updated always. The developer is
Uh,
updated always, right? The guys
yeah.
working in the same project are updated always. And nobody needs to ask what to do because I've already put that as a required deliverable. The graphic designer, the minute he comes in, I share this document with him. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
So he may be involved in 2, 3 projects, possible. Okay, it's possible that the same designer is involved in 2, 3 projects. So I would have shared 1 or 2 links with him, right? So he will have a
Yeah.
sheet. He will have one sheet for each project. and he would mark whatever he's doing in each project, right?
Yeah.
I know even if it's ongoing, I know it. And at the end of the day, all I ask him to leave is the link to the ongoing file. So if it's a PSD file, link to the ongoing PSD file. I don't care whether he keeps it in Google Drive or Dropbox or wherever he wants to keep it. Not an issue. The link should be here. That's all I want, right? So
Mm.
that this is very simple. It's very workable. Mm, we don't have to talk about it elsewhere, right? The only
Yeah.
thing that I might do apart from this is I might motivate my team to say, okay, 2 more days, 2 more days to go, guys. Come on, we need
Mm.
to reach deliverables, right? So those are the only kind of uh, mails I would be sending, and it's I would never talk about a deliverable anywhere in the email, and all the feedback is either in a document or let's say I've shared something. Let's say I earlier you guys had a post saying where do I share the output files, right?
Yeah.
And I told you, I would just open up a shareable document,
Mm-hmm.
paste the output there, right?
Yeah.
And leave the comments to be included, right?
Mm-hmm.
So all the feedback will be there. Again, what do? I just need a link to that page, right?
Yeah.
I don't need anything but the link. So at that,
Mm-hmm.
even at the end of, let's say, the project, the links will be maintained. As far as I've seen, Gmail does a very good job because even if you change the location, tomorrow, let's say the project is done and you want to move everything to one place, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I huddle all the files spread over all the places and then I put it under one folder.
It will
Even if
automatically
I
change
do
the link.
that, they auto link, you can still maintain the same link.
Cool.
They do a wonderful job of maintaining the same link. I'll never lose the link to the particular file. They do an awesome job at that. Anyway, having said that, this is one thing. Now, as far as project management goes, I have another sheet, okay, and they look only at the dates in which the guys picked up the work, right?
Okay.
They only have those dates. So I have this project, I'll have 1 to 10, I'll have 10 projects running at the same time. So when somebody is picked up, right, and each project has
Mm-hmm.
this many stages. Across all, we have 5 standard stages, right,
Mm-hmm.
approximately. So it will fall,
So is this for planning or is it the date that actually happens?
this one is the start date, it's not the plan date.
Okay.
Yeah, these are the actual dates,
Okay.
okay? They are
Yeah.
never the plan date. I'm actually I've hidden the rows for the plan dates inside. You see that?
Okay.
You see that? I've hidden that. The reason
Mm-hmm.
I hide that is because it's not relevant to me. But that's to create the green if they have picked it on time or not, right? But
All right.
that's because I'm using a formula to check. So if it's not picked on time, if
Mm-hmm.
they've not started on time, the box will appear with the date, but it will be in red.
Yeah.
Okay? So ideally, I'm
Okay.
looking at something as simple as this. I have multiple projects running, so many different people working. I don't care. Anybody asks me what the status of it, I just open this one sheet, which is connected to all the other project sheets, right?
Yeah.
And I'll have a look at it and I'll say, okay, project one is at this stage, project two is at this stage. I don't have to talk to the boys because I just come here, see what's available, how much effort is done, right? And this
Sounds
could be
good.
for a remote team as well. So I usually work with remote teams these days, a lot with remote teams. As of today, I have 3 remote teams.
Cool.
Okay, and most of the work that I do gets done like this. Somebody said, one of the teams they recommended. Uh, I don't know if you're able to see the screen. Just hold on. Let me share that as well. Uh, Here you go. Entire screen. Have you heard of the product called Trello?
Trello, I know.
Yes.
Yes.
Do you know the Kanban board and all that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, Kanban board is very effective. Okay, way back in 2002, I really went deep into this Kanban thing. At that time, there were no free, software available for Kanban, and we had this huge boards, whiteboards with stickies and all that. It worked. Okay. What you're looking when you look at my Excel file, it has a little bit of Kanban, right?
Mhm.
It does it does say that I'm at this stage, right? It has a
Yeah.
little bit of Kanban, but it's a mix. It's a mix between who's doing what I wanted them to do and what's done, right?
Mm-hmm.
But Trello by itself did make sense. Okay, it did make a lot of sense because ultimately we still had to tell these people that you know we are doing this and where my deliverable, right? And and I, by the way, it required a separate login ID and password. That's the biggest challenge. So, and every time Trello will update you via email, and then I'm forced to open Gmail again, right?
Yeah.
So what's the point opening another, you know, entire package when I have to check my mail again? So, by the way, anybody who wants a great idea for any product, let me put it to you very plainly. I don't know, the most top product, spoken about product today is called Slack. I don't know if you guys heard
Yes.
it,
I am on
Oh,
Slack.
yes.
but I would still say they are still far behind only because of one single feature that's missing.
Which
Mm-hmm.
is
Okay, there was only one guy in the whole world who I really wanted to, praise that guy. I really loved the product, but by the time he kind of came out, he got grabbed. I mean, they bought the product, right? And it was a
Which
lovely
one?
product. I forgot the name. That's what I'm like. It was an awesome product. Okay, let me tell you the feature. I think it was MOPED. MOPED. Okay,
Moped.
it's no longer available. They got bought. They got bought by somebody. Mom.com. You can look at it in TechCrunch. They wrote about it when it was first released. Okay. Uh, now let me tell you the most valuable thing that they have, and the most valuable thing that I'm still dying for, and no product has it.
Mm-hmm.
One feature that's going to kill everybody is built-in email. Okay, if only Slack had built-in email, which will directly send whatever I type to my client as well, and I have only one place to look for every day morning, that's a killer app. Okay, it will blow over the competition for everybody else. Yeah, you have Slack, just integrate that with email. Email is a missing combination, right? Email is what's totally missing, and if only that was there, we would have all this stuff. Why? Because
Email in
when
which sense, Mansoor?
sorry,
Email in which sense?
okay, what happens to all the feedback that comes from your client?
I'm not sure. I haven't used Slack much.
No, no, I'm just telling any product, leave Slack,
Yeah, it basically comes into the same
Trello,
app.
any project management application, anyone, till date,
Okay.
none of them has built-in email. Means you have this communication that goes on between the client you separately,
Mm-hmm.
your project manager and you separately, and all
Mm-hmm.
these are independent emails. And the best Gmail can do is they can have a thread as long as your subject is not changed, right?
Yeah.
So I can go back X to one level and say, okay, this was the conversation. and because of which exchange happened, right?
Yeah.
But how many apps am I dealing with already? So I have email, I have something else to share my project files, right? And I have so many other blah blah applications. And then I'm sure each of your management has, each of your companies have management forcing you to follow a particular project management tool so that they can, figure out how much of the project is done, how much of they want to manage the project, right? That's
Yeah.
a separate tool. So how many, and your company wants time management, like what time you're coming in, how many hours you put in, all that. That's another tool. So why can't everything be in one? It's not
And
there.
that's going to be the email.
If you integrate email with any product today, right? Any of the project management, you can cut down, you can totally get rid of email, right?
Yeah.
Slack is nothing. Slack is just you, all the, it's like Facebook, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Now you can talk about a particular product in a group, in a closed group, okay?
Yeah.
It's like Facebook. Now, otherwise you can talk to everybody on Facebook. That's like everybody, it's like Facebook for a company, right?
Yeah.
By the way, Facebook is going to come out with that product very soon. Facebook for a
Yeah.
company.
Facebook for work.
Yeah,
We
so
already have it, right? Not yet?
Not
not
yet.
yet.
Not yet.
Okay.
So what's going to happen is everybody is going to be on it. So, anything that gets updated in the group, you're going to get it in the feed, right? And ultimately, the feed is going to be your update for the day, right?
Yeah.
And there are these multitude of conversations that go on in different groups, right? And each of the groups can be a separate project by itself. So this is what Slack is, okay?
Yeah.
And Slack is, I don't know why. Okay, let me tell you why. Maybe I know why. Slack is the only one that's got integrated into different. You can actually uh, have things pulled from Trello into Slack.
Yeah, actually, that is the best. So, this thing is something that I observed from like many, years ago. So, like 1 or 2 years ago. So, this is what I call like, making something API-able. So, there are these APIs that these products create, and the
Right,
developers, when they see these APIs, they go crazy and they make, they try to integrate it with everything that they can. And that's
right.
something that Slack has come up with. That's
Yeah,
something that not many others product came up with. So
right,
developers have started everything with Slack, and
right.
it's like, yeah, you can do
Exactly,
anything that you want.
exactly. Everything else but email, sadly.
Yeah,
If only they
I
can,
think there might be some plugin for that.
only notifications are there. At least as far as
Okay.
I dug up, I might have
Uh-huh.
done a haphazard job. Let me know, okay? But from whatever I dug up, from the little time I got, I kind of got in, quickly
Mm-hmm.
saw what's available, and they have notifications. That's about it. That's not
Uh-huh.
what I want. I want the actual email inside, right?
Mm.
And when I reply, I want it to be exactly like a chat conversation. Whatever I write to the client is also like a chat, right? And it's like this. In the private group, the client doesn't have access to it, right?
Yeah.
But when we want to talk openly to the client, all the updates, but at any single point in time, when I click on the project name, I want to see all the conversations in chronological order
Mm-hmm.
by time,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
I want to know what I said, what they said, what who said. I don't care who said it, what who said when. Everything should be pakka. Like this came first. After that, this was said. After this was done. Right? That order is very important because some of the arguments that happened is, you know what, we told you that before, and you still went ahead and you said, dude, hold on.
Yeah.
You said that after we designed.
Mm.
Now, so just to make this point, I gotta now go do a search. pull out all the emails, and
Yeah.
just imagine the conversation I had with the manager is different. I had plenty of mails with you know, the designers, huge number of mails with the client, and it's all a mess. Now, how am I going to find all that in one single go? I'm not going to do that. I can't do it. I can't do that with Gmail. Okay, because the same project manager, I would have spoken to him about having gone for lunch, right?
Yeah.
Or we would have taken the team out for dinner, right? So it's all and it will be on the same project name as well. So X project got over, let's go for dinner. There's a bunch of mails with that, right?
Mm.
A lot of selfies in it. And if I wanted to look for that document, that important document, it's buried among all the selfies. Now think about that. And I look and I search by that project name, wouldn't I? Right?
Yep.
I would search by that project name. I will search by the designer who did it, right? And I still can't find it because it's hidden between all the selfies and the great time we had at the party, sadly, right?
Yeah. All right.
But
So I think.
you
Yeah.
do
Yeah.
get
Go
it.
ahead.
So once you build that into the project management thing, you have your emails in, everything is organized. And AOL came up with a product. They came up with a lovely product. What they did, they pulled out all the attachments, okay, and they showed it to you separately.
Okay.
But what they forgot to do, they still don't say, okay, these are all the attachments for this project.
Mm-hmm.
For me to
Yeah.
achieve that, I should have a tag,
Yes.
okay? Will that solve the problem?
Kind of. Yeah. If you search for that tag, it'll show you all the attachments for that particular
Plus
tag, right?
selfies.
Yeah. So that's what Slack does, I guess, right? Hashtags.
So when we have proper conversation, right?
Mm-hmm.
Conversation threads, and when that has been correctly established,
Mm.
so conversation threads and an application project management tool will actually get you the best product,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
And
All right. So
yeah,
yeah. So I think it's been 1.5 hours now. So I think we should quickly wrap everything up. What do you guys think? Are you guys free?
Yeah, I guess we should wrap up now.
I think most of them have slept off now.
No, no.
All right.
Nancy.
That's
Yeah, there, poor guy Prabhu.
No, actually, I'm just looking at my Slack.
right.
We use a Slack already, and
So
we just
Mansoor,
integrate with a
last
lot of
bit,
apps.
Mansoor, last bit from you. Can you recommend some groups that we can join on Slack?
On Slack?
Yeah.
Slack
Uh,
is for internal teams. I mean, is it open as well?
No, it's open also. There are quite a
yes,
few
it's open
people
also.
discussing.
Yeah.
Okay, okay. I didn't
Sorry to
know
say,
that.
I don't have, let's say, I haven't spent so much of time on Slack yet.
Okay.
Due to the constraints of the client, I somehow was, dragged into it, but
Acha.
it's always open and I still don't use it.
We should make a product for that, for search groups for your, interests.
Yeah, but basically that's, you know, it's a big problem and somebody should have solved it by now, but I don't know why people are not looking at it like that. There's
Mm-hmm.
another very, very important thing which also I've been looking for the past, let's say 17 years or 15 years, max at least 15 years, okay?
Mm-hmm.
What is this? One of the email integration into the project manager. Believe me or not, I've been waiting for 15 years, okay? 15. And every client I've spoken to, I've always encouraged them to include this with those success. And right now, we are building a product. We're building a HR product. Okay, one of
Okay.
a kind. Again, I have pitched for it.
Let's
Nth
hope it
time,
gets done.
let them, may God bless them with budget. May, may the concept see the light of day, right? So again, it's built into the wireframe and stuff like that. They promised to get it done. Let's see how that comes out. There's another thing that I've always been wanting to see is calculating the number of hours somebody's putting, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Finally, actually, it did see the light of day in 2014. Sadly, I forgot the day. It's a billing product. Finally, that thing came out. But what I've been wanting is, why is it so difficult for us? Why do we have to fill our timesheets, right? It was
Yeah.
so damn irritating when when I had to fill timesheets. Thank God I'm on the other side now. I don't have to fill timesheets, but my team still does. So it's a pain, right?
Yeah.
It's a pain. Every company has it. At least every MNC has it, right? And I think startups get away with it somehow, but every multinational companies, they want to show it's using some kind of a software or the other. Back then, believe it or not, I used to write macros which automatically fill the time for me.
Cool.
Okay, it used to, and our company used to have this online thing. Okay, but Firefox at those days, Firefox had a macro recorder. So, and it used to be very effective. It will wait for the page to load, okay, and then it'll, once everything is loaded and ready, the macro will wait for everything and then start filling again, right? I had a pattern in which I could fill, but it was just every page the same copy, right? And I would finish filling for about 6 months in about a record's time, right?
Mm.
Within 10 minutes, everything is done. If the net speed was pretty good or the intranet speed was pretty good, I would finish filling in my time. But it was as useless as that, right? So somehow show 8 hours of time and that's it. I would spread them across browsing, researching, checking mails, right? Standard, 2 hours for each. Anyway,
Yeah.
so the one thing that I always wanted was a kind of a recorder that records everything that I do on the PC. As long as it records my time on the browser, on every tab, on
Every
every, let's say
application.
I'm working on Word, let it record the time I'm working on that particular file on Word. At the end of the day, it'll
Mhm.
tell me I worked X number of hours on Word, on this file, X number of hours on Photoshop, X number of hours on browsing, etc. All I have to do is pick to say, okay, consider this, consider this, consider this, consider this, and leave the rest.
Sounds
Right?
good.
That's it, right?
Sounds good. Yeah.
It
Actually,
is the perfect one. And one of
there was
the
an app on Android which is actually doing this,
awesome. I
but
wanted this
I'm not
on the
sure about
desktop.
Windows.
I wanted this on the desktop because this is
Yeah.
this is one place where we do all our work, right? And I
Exactly.
wanted them to capture it
Mm.
and store it somewhere online or whatever you want to do with the data, But this would have been awesome. Anyway, so last year I saw one app and which did exactly that. I've forgotten the name. Maybe sometime later I'll share that with share it with the group. It was a very thoughtful of them to finally come up with the same idea. Well done as well. Very well done. So now it has become. Otherwise, there used to be this button you had to click on start, and people used to forget. They would start the task and come 2 weeks later, right?
Yeah.
And it was supposed to be, when you start in the morning, you press start and stop when you go for lunch, and then come back and restart. This is too much, yeah, right? That was the only other way. They used to have timesheet filling. and there used to be hundreds of apps. Okay, just unbelievably, so many apps, but everybody did this. There was not one app which used to do what I told you except till last year. Well, just wanted to share that bit. So, anybody has any, such revolutionary ideas, fill them, share it with people so that somebody somewhere gets to build them because after all, idea is nothing as long as you share them. I've done my part of sharing it all the while, and like I've shared today, the most important thing is email conversation threads. If you too find it as important as I do, you think you believe in this, share it with your clients, build it somewhere.
Sure,
Anybody else
sure.
have ideas like this?
Sure.
Chalo then. I guess everybody is sleepy. It's 12:30.
We have to go for the dinner now.
Right. How
All
many of
right,
you
so
getting dinner now?
Mansoor, really thanks for showing how you actually do the stuff. The Google Sheets that you showed that gave us a very good perspective of how to actually manage a huge team and project.
Absolutely. I don't
And
mind.
that was the
Share.
biggest takeaway that I could personally have from this
If
whole
you can
session.
share your email IDs, I will share that sheet with you.
Yeah, we'll just type it over here.
Yeah.
Yes, I think that's the best.
Sure. I'll share it with all of you as soon as this meeting is over.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Most
thanks
welcome.
everybody.
Thank you
So
all.
I hope we will meet again for something or the other discussion on UX.
Yeah.
Definitely. Any other
Sure.
takeaway? Any other thing that you guys want to say before we finish?
No, I
Nancy?
think all good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yogesh, continue.
No, I think that's it. I mean, we spoke pretty much about everything that we wanted to today. So yeah, it was nice meeting you all. Bye
Yep.
bye. Take care. Good night.
Bye, Yash, and
Same to you
thanks,
Bye.
guys.
Mansoor.
Bye bye.
Yep.
All right,
Bye.
Nancy,
In
anything
touch.
else that you want to say?
Uh, not now.
All right.
Okay.
Prabhanshu?
No, I'm fine.
Prabhanshu, poor dude. See, don't miss out next time. We'll have something for you.
Sure.
I'll bring you over for a coffee, I guess. You guys should sit and talk first, and then you start talking.
Now everyone's echoing. Okay, we should get back to bed.
All right, all right. All right, then, guys. Thanks a lot. Let's meet
Thanks.
again very soon.
Sure, sure. Okay, thanks.
Bye.
Bye
Bye.
bye. Good night.
Bye.
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 Good night.